Welcome to Office Hours by Triple X Church. I'm your host, Carl Thomas. I'm a pastor, certified neurohealth coach, and a guy who frankly struggled with a lot of stuff we talk about here for over 20 years until I found freedom about a decade ago. In today's episode, we are going to be jumping in and answering this question. Are sexy dolls an option for a single Christian male to avoid fornication? That's what I will be discussing today, so make sure you hang in there with me. Recognize it, no questions are off the table, and I'm going to be as honest with my answers as I possibly can be, so don't get offended. Without any further delay, let's jump in. Okay, so this question came into our Office Hours page. Are sexy dolls an option for a single Christian male to avoid fornication? Never got this question before, but I think it's worth answering. I'm assuming when you say sexy dolls, you mean a sex doll. I just have to assume that because you didn't specifically say so. Fornication is kind of an old school term, so it sounds like you probably grew up in a bit of a religious type household. I mean, we don't really use the word fornication that much, but basically what you're talking about is it a way to stay sexually pure, right? Or is it a way to maintain your sexual integrity? If you act out with a sex doll versus a human being, right? These are the assumptions I'm making. So I'll keep it simple. No, it's not a viable option. Now, for some of you listening, you might be thinking to yourself, well, of course sexy dolls aren't okay. But you're getting hung up on the sex doll part, right? You're getting hung up on the fact that someone's having sex with a doll. Do you still have that same sort of conviction when it comes to porn and masturbation? I know a lot of guys who would probably say, yeah, I would never have sex with a sex doll to quote unquote maintain my purity, but I really need sex, so I think masturbation's okay. We get those questions all the time. Is it okay to masturbate if? Is it okay to masturbate when? And this is just another version of that question. Is it okay to have sex with a sex doll if or when, I'm trying to maintain my sexual integrity? And the problem with all these questions is the same, whether it's masturbation, porn, or sex dolls, is basically you don't, or you're dismissing the purpose of sex. Okay, you're looking at sex as an activity, right? It's something for pleasure, it's something for gratification, and it's only holy if done in the context of marriage, but I still have needs, so I need to do something with it that doesn't involve another human being. And that just completely misses the point of what sex is about. I mean, yes, it's an enjoyable activity, if you will, right? It is gratifying, but it's enjoyable and gratifying because it's meant to bring intimacy and closeness with your spouse, with another individual, right? When you look at the way sex works and an orgasm works, and you understand what chemicals get released when you have an orgasm, dopamine, oxytocin, and you understand how those chemicals have this association and or bonding effect, right, with the person that you're orgasming with, you start to understand, oh my gosh, this is why sex is so amazing and why it's so beneficial for a marriage, because you're having this really out of body euphoric experience with another individual who in theory, and in theory, you haven't had that experience with another individual. So that creates this very unique bond that you don't share with anyone else. If you're having sex with a sex doll, or you're masturbating, or you're looking at porn, guess what? You're having that experience or bonding moment with someone else other than your spouse, right? You're not doing it for the purposes of intimacy. You're not doing it for the purposes of closeness. You're doing it simply just to get off. And that's not good. Like, that's not why God gave us sex. He gave us sex for a very specific reason. So you're completely missing the point of sex, all right? I don't care if you're masturbating. I don't care if you're looking at porn. I don't care if you're having sex with a sex doll. All three of those things, it's still sexually acting out. You're still treating sex as just this thing, right? You're not giving it you're not seeing it as a holy act that God gave us to enjoy with our spouse. And you're just trying to find a workaround for really what is a lack of sexual integrity, if you will, right? I mean, it's the same thing, right? Now, in our human minds, we think to ourselves, well, a sex doll is better than the real human being. I understand the thought there, or masturbation is better than my neighbor. I get the thought there. But the heart, right? The heart intent is still the same. I'm trying to act out. I'm trying to consume something. And for the sex doll situation, there's other issues there, right? Because if you're having sex with a doll and you do that long enough, and when I say long enough, I don't mean years. I mean, it's much shorter than you might think, but you're going to slowly and gradually teach your brain that this is an okay, acceptable thing to do to give it pleasure. And so what's going to happen is when you run into moments where you're feeling lonely or sad or anxious or angry and your brain's like, oh my gosh, I don't feel good right now. I want to feel good. It's going to go to what it knows, what you've taught it, right? Makes it feel good. In this case, a sex doll. And that could be a therapy problem down the road. So I would definitely say no to the sex doll. It doesn't achieve the purpose. And I get the fact that, you're looking for some sort of sexual gratification, but really what you need to be looking for is intimacy with another individual. So hope that helps. If you have a question for me that you want me to answer in an upcoming Office Hours episode, go to xxchurch.com/office-hours. Submit your question there and I will answer it. That's about it. Have a great weekend.